And with that, I think we are ready for this Pokemon Red run. So, Conception, take it away.
All right. Thank you so much. I am very, very excited to be here. My name is konceptionSR, and we're going to be speedrunning Pokemon Red Any Percent Glitchless, which is an incredibly popular speed game and also it can be very frustrating with the RNG. So we're going to hope for good luck. Get those GLs in the chat ready. Before we hop in and get started, so I'm going to go ahead and get my settings ready. I know we had a bid war open for our rival nickname, which we're going to nickname right off the top here. So please tell me if I'm fighting anxiety.
You are fighting anxiety. Well, we're really all fighting anxiety, but specifically for this run, yeah, we are fighting anxiety.
I was already fighting anxiety for this run, so we're gonna put it out there by name now. All right, thank you so much for those donations. All right, so I'm gonna hit new game here, and that is when the time is going to start. So actually, let me just check my settings, make sure we're good. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, welcome to the world of Pokemon. All right, so yeah, like I mentioned up the top, our nicknames happen right away. We need to make sure our character's name is one character. It's very important for some RNG manipulation. But we can do anxiety all we want. Oops, almost did it without the Y. There we go. There we go. I remember now his name is Anxiety. I'm not going to get over that the entirety of this run. So good. Thank you very much for those donations. All right, yes, so we are running Any Percent Glitchless. Right away, we're going to take a very important safety precaution, which is to withdraw our PC potion. And that is because we are going to fight our rival, as you can imagine, right away. And there is about a 10% chance we could die. It's pretty low. But to avoid having to save and reset, which this rival fight would take quite a long time, it's actually faster for us to grab the PC potion here. And then just make sure that we will 100% succeed this fight. Oak is taking us to his lab here. If you've never seen an Any Percent Glitchless run, what we do is we are going to be picking Squirtle as our starter, and that is because Squirtle is going to get us through the first badge and a tiny bit else in this run. So it's gonna be very important for us to pick Squirtle here. We also need to make sure Squirtle is nicknamed one character for RNG manipulation. So if you're wondering, like, oh, why didn't we do bid wars for, the Squirtle's nickname or our character's nickname and stuff like that, is because that is very important for us to get some successful RNG manipulation to the run. All right, Anxiety, let's see what you got. Obviously, with us picking Squirtle, our rival is going to pick Bulbasaur, and this fight can go decently quick or it can be really slow. And that just is entirely dependent on what Bulbasaur feels like doing. We start off with a Tail Whip to lower the defense here. And then we're going to Tackle to win. Now, what is obviously going to be variable here is how often Bulbasaur is going to use Growl on us. We do not want to see a lot of growls because the growl lowers our attack, which means it's going to have us do less damage. So far, we've already got 2, so that's not particularly great, but it's not the worst. But you can already see that our damage output is dwindling. Yep, it's getting pretty small here. I'm actually going to elect to take a second Tail Whip here to lower his defense a little bit more. I usually will do that if before halfway through it looks like I'm going to just be, having to struggle all the way through, because I don't want this to be a paper cut fight where I just have to take his Bulbasaur's health all the way down one by one until I'm actually successful. So we're almost through the fight now. But yeah, this wasn't a particularly good one, but I've had worse. I'll be honest. I've had worse. All right, so it looks like we'll probably have 2 more hits unless we get a crit. Oh, no, great. We got a high roll. And what I mean by high roll, by the way, is that any damage that you're going to do in a Pokemon run has 16 values that of ranges of damage. Now, that doesn't mean that you can do 16 different levels of damage, like 1 through 16. It just means that basically think about a dice roll that happens in the background between 1 and 16, but associated with those numbers are damage values. So especially early on, a lot of them are going to be like, well, 1 through 5 is 5 damage, and then 6 through 10 is 6 damage, and then 7 through 11 is 7 damage, and then things like that. We are making our way up to the mart here. We need to get Oak's parcel and bring it back down. We're not using repels or anything because we don't have access to them. So the less we see of encounters on Route 1, the better. However, we do need to hit 1 encounter, and that is important to get our Squirtle's XP up a little bit. The reason why we need to get Squirtle's XP up is we need him to be level 8 when we reach Brock. And that is because at level 8, Squirtle learns Bubble, which, as you can imagine, is going to be very useful against Brock's Rock-type Pokemon. Good. So, obviously, if you've played this game at all, you know that you can encounter mainly just 2 Pokemon here, which are Rattata and Pidgey. We much prefer Rattata when we have to fight an encounter, and that is because Rattata has Tail Whip, so we have the option of not being damaged, which is obviously very good. Pidgey only has Gust and will only use Gust, so that obviously is not great for us. So Tackle is not a 100% accurate move, is a 95% accurate move, so you may occasionally see that we will miss it. And when I say it's a 95% move, it sometimes feels like a 95% move verging on more like 75%. All right, so we head in here. We talked to Oak to give him his parcel, and in Red Glitchless, you actually have 2 options for talking to Oak. You can talk to him from the side like this, which means that your rival moves a little bit less coming from the bottom of the screen, and that's actually really important because when your rival enters the screen, it moves at half the speed that the player does. So we want to limit the rival's movement as much as possible. So we actually go up 1 extra tile to prevent that, so he moves 1 less tile. We can also talk to Oak from behind here, which will mean an additional less tile that your rival would have to walk, but it would be 2 tiles that we would have to walk, so it actually works out exactly the same frame-wise. So it doesn't really matter what you pick, it's all preference. Some people talk to Oak from behind, some people talk to him from the side, so. All right, so Pidgey. We don't need anything else right now. We got our experience. So any encounter that we hit on Rival 1 heading back up here, not on Rival 1, on Route 1 rather, heading back up here is just going to be superfluous. So we hopefully will not see too many. That NPC liked to get in our way, so we had to be in some extra grass. Thanks, NPC. Don't need this Pidgey. We will need a flyer later on, but we don't have the Pokeballs yet. All right, heading up. Now is when we are going to get said Pokeballs because we need to make a very, very important catch here. So we're going to head up in here and we're going to buy 4 Pokeballs. We only need 3, but 4 is for safety. And then we're going to head on over to the left here, and then we're going to perform the run's first RNG manipulation. First, I'm going to swap my potion, my Pokeball, just for that RNG manipulation. Here, I'm going to actually just focus on this to make sure I do it right, and then I'll kind of explain what it is that I'm doing after. So I might just be quiet here for a second. Let me make sure this is Nidoran. Good. Excellent. Very, very good. Need to make sure we're nicknamed 1-letter character there as well. Okay, so let me explain exactly what I just did there. So I saved on a very, very specific tile and then reset the game. And that is because when I reset the game from boot up, I can establish what I want my RNG values to be by hitting frame perfect inputs all the way until I get the result that I need. So what I did there was I moved in a very particular pattern, and I even was pressing A on very specific tiles while I was moving to move the RNG at a consistent pace. And what happened was I caused that Nidoran to spawn the way it did, and that is not only a Nidoran, You can get a level 3 or a level 4 Nidoran that grass, and we got level 4, which is obviously important. But we also have a level 4 Nidoran with incredible stats. It's basically like the best Nidoran you could ever get, and that's going to be very important for us because stats are going to be very, very relevant at several points. We also RNG manipulated the Nidoran getting into the ball on the first throw without having to weaken it. And all we do with that is boot up game with very specific inputs to have the RNG progress at the same rate every time. So we were able to manipulate that Nidoran, which is single-handedly the most important part of the run because our entire run is dependent on this Nidoran. After we get past Brock, we're going to be using Nidoran's evolution line exclusively. We're also walking on very specific tiles in the forest here. You might be wondering, oh wow, I got really, really good luck there because I didn't hit any encounters. But that's actually very purposeful how we walk. There are specific tiles in the forest that if you walk on them have 1/3 of the chance of hitting an encounter than a normal tile. I'm not exactly sure why it's programmed that way, it just is, but I walk on every possible tile that I could do that in order to avoid an encounter. Occasionally you'll still hit an encounter. It's not non-existent, it just makes it much less likely than normal. So hitting an encounter is not uncommon. And there's actually ways to extend your RNG manipulation from your Nidoran all the way through so that until you get to this trainer, and then you can manipulate his first turn so that you get String Shot instead of Poison Sting. It just requires a lot more frame perfect playing and, you know, a lot more precise input, so it's a little bit safer, and I didn't hit an encounter anyway, so it's not a big deal. Okay, on we go. We're going to be heading up to Brock. We're going to be making a pit stop at the Pokemon Mart, and we're going to buy some potions. Obviously, potions are going to be very important. We don't want to die, so you can imagine what we might use those for. And we're going to actually
for a quick donation.
We sure do. While we're getting set up here, go on ahead.
All right. Got somebody, I believe, from your community.
Oh.
No donation name, but I believe it's in the comment. $10. A wild, and I apologize for butchering this, young thunfish appeared. It used good luck. It's super effective. Go, Conception.
Thank you so much. Yes, indeed, a wonderful, incredible member of my community, Young Toonfish. Don't worry, everyone messes that name up. I did when I first met him. Yeah, he is from Germany. Thank you so much for that excellent donation. I really appreciate it. We did a very specific menu here right before Brock. Obviously, saving is just for safety. We can imagine why we would do that. We also actually swapped our Nidoran to the front. That is because we're going to do swap experience here. So we're going to put our Nidoran out front and then immediately swap to Squirtle. And that is just so Nidoran can get some experience without having to fight. And then we're going to take down the Geodude and Onix. Now, there is a chance that Squirtle has really bad special here, but luckily enough for us, we have really good special. Sometimes Geodude and Onix might take 3 shots if our special is too bad. Special is directly tied to how much damage Bubble's going to do. All right, and then same thing here. We're going to swap back to Nidoran so we can get some Onix experience. And then back down to Squirtle. Bide is an interesting move to do first. So we're actually going to stall a little bit. Good. I actually kind of prefer having 3-turn Bides. So Bide is a move that will have Onix stall, and then the damage that Onix takes during the Bide will come back to you. So if we had chanced it and it ended up being a 2-turn Bide and we got him weak, we would have died from the damage we dealt to Onix. So we just have to stall a little bit there. It's ever so slightly slower, but it's actually safer. So I'm actually glad that we got that. All right, and that's Brock. We're already through. I don't know, blinking you might miss it, but here we are. We're through. All right, so it gives us a TM. We do not need it. Well, we do need it, but not for what you might think we might need it for. We're gonna hold on to it for a while and then sell it way later. We also have to do a very important menu here. So we went into our options and changed the battle style from shift to set. So if you're unfamiliar with what that means, is if you play Pokemon normally and you don't alter the setting, you'll notice that after every Pokemon you defeat in a battle with a trainer, it'll ask if you want to swap Pokemon. which is very useful for playing on a casual level, but in a speedrun, that's a lot of wasted text boxes where letters pop up literally 1 frame per letter. So we really need to avoid not having it those text boxes pop up. So we turn that off because Nidoran is going to be in the front basically the rest of the run. And you might be wondering why. So why Nidoran, right? It seems unlikely because it's just Nidoran, right? So there's a lot of reasons, and I'm going to kind of dive into those as we go through the run because they're going to pop up every so often. But obviously one reason is we can manipulate the stats, like I talked about. A second reason is that we can get a fully evolved Pokemon very early into the run because we will get Nidoran up to level 15, use a rare candy to get it to Nidorino, and then we'll use a Moonstone to get it to Nidoking by level 16, which is very, very good. And then we'll dive a little bit more into what else we benefit from throughout the run as well. So a couple interesting things happen in this fight. So now that we have a badge, it's worth mentioning an interesting part of this game called badge. So whenever you achieve a badge, you will now be boosted in some way, some hidden way, when your stats are altered in some way. So for example, now that we have the Boulder badge from Brock, our attack can be boosted if our speed is lowered. So whenever we are getting string shotted and it's lowering our speed, it's actually boosting our attack. So it's actually more helping us than it is hurting us, which is pretty unique. And you'll see if we get a couple of key instances of badge boosts here, this route can go a little bit fast, but it's a little bit RNG dependent, as you might imagine. This is Shorts Kid. Shorts Kid, notoriously annoying. Not so much for this Rattata, though this Rattata can be annoying too, especially if it crits like that. We don't love that. It's more the Ekans, and hopefully we don't have to delve into why, but we'll see. Kind of luck I get here. All right, so the Rattata goes down, does a good chunk of damage to us, unfortunately, but it's all about knowing the damage ranges, really. All right, so Ekans knows a move called Wrap. Wrap is very annoying in Gen 1 because it's a move that can last up to 5 turns, and in Gen 1, we don't get the ability to do anything else. Now, in future gens, Wrap lets you act as well as being wrapped, so, that's nice. But there could be up to 5 turns where there's nothing we can do if we get wrapped. Now, luckily, we didn't have to deal with that, so that's great. Which brings me to another point as to why Nidoran line is very good for this run, which is that it is a poison type. There are a lot of instances where we could get poisoned, especially in the early game, but if you're a poison type Pokemon, you cannot be poisoned, so that is very useful. We don't have to worry about buying tons of antidotes or anything like that. That might have not been a good idea. Let's see. Yeah, that was the wrong range. I, for some reason, thought that we had a string shot on the first turn. Yeah, because we didn't get string shot on that first turn, we did not get the badge boost that I mentioned, which means that we did not do as much damage. I should have gone Horn Attack there, but instead I went Tackle. It does save us a Horn Attack because we're going to skip a Pokemon Center coming up, so it's not entirely useless, but it did cost us an extra turn. Oh, I thought we would hit the range there, so we'll say an extra 2 turns, but we did, again, save a couple extra Horn Attacks, which is obviously very important as well. Ooh, since we got crit there, we are going to play it safe, and we are going to heal on the next turn. Because if we gotten tackled again, even without the crit, we would have died. So, I'm very glad that we healed there, because we would be dead. And the reason why you might be considering, like, oh, obviously your health is low, heal. Like, that's just the obvious choice. There's a couple reasons why when we're low health, we're not going to want to heal. The main reason is that, that very annoying sound effect that comes in where it's just like be-doo, be-doo, be-doo when you're low health. It is very annoying. I will agree with you there, chat. But one thing that is very interesting about this game is that when that sound effect is in place, it cuts out other sound effects such as level up jingles, Pokemon cries, and things like that, which saves us a ton of time. We end up flying through battles the longer we stay in what we call red bar. So at times we're going to want to try and stay in red bar as much as we possibly can. So that would have been a nice one of those times. We had it a little bit, which is always good. So you can easily go through Route 3 and not have red bar the whole time. So at least we had it a little bit, but whenever can, we will try and hold on to red bar as much as possible. And you'll see later on in the run, we'll have red bar for a good chunk of the run, which might produce anxiety. It all comes full circle. All right, so this Metapon, just gotta get him down. All right, that crit is not, it is kind of useful. It saves us a turn, I think. And we are now level 14. We're done with Route 3 trainers. We're actually gonna head down here. And we're going to enter this grass on purpose. Well, we got it on the first tile though. That's kind of nerve-wracking. We might hit another encounter. And that is because we need a flyer, like I mentioned. And I'm actually glad it's a Spearow. Because Spearow is a great backup Pokemon if things don't go well. And I'll explain a little bit about what I mean later. But for right now, we're going to weaken it and catch it, you know, standard Pokemon practice. Very good. And you know what? We will nickname this Spearow. Why not? It doesn't matter if we do or not. So let's just give it a really good nickname. Why not? Okay, good. Yeah, we hit that encounter on the first tile, so I was a little bit nervous. We want to walk around that trainer as to not fight her. So I was really nervous as that we might hit another encounter, but we made it past. This is the Pokemon Center here that we are going to be skipping right outside Mount Moon because we don't particularly need it with our potions. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to heal up our Nidoran. I'm actually going to keep it there, and I'm going to save, and I'm going to do a very important where I'm not going to talk at all, so it's going to be silent for maybe up to a minute and a half or so. But it requires a lot of focus, and I will gladly explain exactly what I'm doing after I'm done. Nope. I already messed it up. So it's okay. So as you can imagine, Mount Moon is a particularly annoying space. Because there are Zubats and other encounters that can take place. So what we attempt to do is we do a very extended RNG manipulation that takes us basically all the way through Mount Moon for what we need, to very close to the end. It is very precise, but however, unfortunately, I have a controller that likes to malfunction occasionally on movement. Usually it doesn't choose to malfunction there, but unfortunately it did. So we're going to be dealing with some encounters here until I can get to a backup spot where I can do a backup manipulation here. The manipulation is obviously important for encounters. Again, we don't have access to repels yet, so we can't just use repels to avoid doing these encounters. But it's not just for encounters that we're worried about doing that manipulation. We also manipulate getting a very specific Pokemon in Mount Moon here, which is actually right here. Thanks for that, Paris. Paris is what ideally we would be looking for. Do I have an extra one here? Yeah. Hopefully this doesn't kill, actually. Yeah, okay, perfect. We're gonna throw a ball here. Great. Okay, so we usually manipulate the Paris, and that is because Paris is not a common Pokemon to pop up. In Mount Moon, it's not like incredibly rare or anything like that, but it's a low percentage to pop up. So we not only manipulate not getting encounters, but the RNG manipulation actually ends with us landing on a Paris. And again, if we are successful with our inputs, we can also manipulate it getting into the ball on the first throw without having to weaken it, which obviously would save time. However, we are still going to do a backup manipulation because I think it's going to be worth doing it just to avoid encounters. But whenever we get to the Paris at the end, we can just run from it instead. It's a little tough to kind of weigh out if it will be worth it, only because, you know, you might be like, oh, well, just do this every time, right? But you have to consider the fact that it also takes like 25 seconds to reset the game. So you have to include that in your time to see if it's worth going for. I think it's going to be worth going for. All right, so we're going to reset again here. This is where the backup manipulation takes place, so hopefully we can not have a controller malfunction there. This one is luckily much less long and also a lot easier to execute. So again, walking in a very specific way and hitting A on some specific titles in order to progress the RNG at a consistent rate. Okay, that's exactly, we did the manipulation correctly. This is going to be a level, I think it's a level 10 Paris, 12. Okay. Again, we would do an RNG manipulation here where we would catch it, but we already have one, so we don't have to worry about it. We're going to take a very purposeful save here, and then we're going to fight this rocket. Now, this rocket is usually okay, but can be quite frustrating, and can easily kill us at this level. So we take some extra precautions there, just to make sure that that doesn't. Rattata, again, not typically super annoying, but can be, depending on how much damage Rattata chooses to do on us. All right, got us relatively low, unfortunately. So we'll see. The Zubat is where things get really frustrating at times. So let's see how Zubat treats us. We might have to heal here. Can we get the 2-shot? Thank you. Nice. So that was really good and really fast. So obviously you can see how that Zubat might be annoying based off the move it chose to select there, which was Supersonic. Can be a very frustrating move to use. All right, so we're going to take a relatively extended menu here, where I'm going to use a rare candy to level up Nidoran from 15 to 16, which will evolve it to Nidorino. Then you might have noticed we picked up some key items while we were walking there, specifically 2 TMs. We're going to teach one of the TMs while in Nidorino, which is Water Gun. Okay. Great. Okay, then now we're going to use the Moonstone we picked up to evolve Nidorino to Nidoking. And we have to very specifically teach Water Gun as Nidorino because Nidoking is not able to learn Water Gun, but we do need Water Gun for some early game action. So we have to teach it while at Nidorino. Then we evolve to Nidoking, and then we're going to teach one last TM to Nidoking, which is Mega Punch. Mega Punch is a very powerful move. It is a 85% accurate move, I believe. And I can attest to you that it does not feel like an 85% accurate move. It feels like a 50% accurate move with how often we miss, which is very, very often. And you might even see that right away here. We'll see. We're gonna use Mega Punch extensively in this fight, so we'll see how lucky we get. If we had done a little bit more damage there, we actually could have gotten away with a Water Gun, but that Water Gun would not do enough damage to kill Grimer, so we're going to hit it with another Mega Punch. We have a chance to one-shot this Voltorb, but it is a range. You might hear me say that quite often. Range meaning that depending on how much damage, how high of a roll we get with our move, that we could have killed the Voltorb in one shot, or we might not. And we unfortunately got a lower roll, so we did not one-shot the Voltorb. All right, we hit all of our Mega Punches, though, so at least, you know, we didn't waste a ton of time, just the extra turn on the Voltorb there. All right, we very specifically take the Helix fossil, praise Helix. Also, shout out to my friend Helix. And we walk in a very specific way there because we get a few free frames of encounterless movement, and that is because whenever you come off of a battle, you have 2 tiles of movement where you cannot get an encounter. And then we have the same thing there because we cannot get encounters on tiles that the fossils existed on. So we move on those tiles in order to avoid getting an encounter. And then luckily enough for us, we didn't get any encounters thereafter. So we got some decent RNG there, despite got messed up by that NPC though. But otherwise, things are rolling. Things are doing okay. All right, so we're gonna heal here, obviously just to heal up our Pokemon, but also to replenish our power points so we have enough moves to get through longer stretches of the game. And you're going to do a very interesting mechanic here, and I hesitated on what to call it because obviously we're doing 80% glitchless, so this is not a glitch, but it's an exploit, we'll call it. So this is called instant text. It was discovered by somebody in the community named Swaff, and basically when you talk to the bike shop owner and very quickly clear out their dialogue, it makes it so that text no longer scrolls on the screen, it appears instantly. Which you might think, how much time can that save, right? But if you recall earlier, I mentioned that when text appears on the screen in this game, it is literally 1 frame per letter. So you can imagine how many frames we're saving the longer we're able to keep instant text when it pops up on the screen as opposed to scrolls on the screen. So you can see now we're flying through text, and we'll end up flying through battles as well. Here we are fighting anxiety again. And this fight can be really annoying depending on exactly this Pokemon, Pidgeotto. Let's see what it chooses to do. Gust is great. Gust is fine. Can we just kill the Pidgeotto? That would be great. Okay. Gust is good. Okay. So the reason why I actually would prefer not to have gotten quick attack there, but it doesn't matter. The reason why Pidgeotto can be annoying is because Pidgeotto knows a move called Sand Attack, which Sand Attack is just frustrating. It lowers your accuracy, so it makes it so you miss moves. In this game, it lowers it by a full third. So if a move is 100% accurate, like most of my moves are, it makes it that so that it's 66% accurate, which is obviously not ideal. I was hoping not to get Growl here. Yeah, for this reason. We got our first Mega Punch miss there. On Bulbasaur, we hit with Mega Punch first. If we don't get Growl, we can actually kill with Horn Attack, which is obviously preferred because we might miss. But because we got Growl that lowered our attack, so in order to kill it in one more turn, we needed to hit a Mega Punch. However, we missed one. It happens. Otherwise, the rival fight went pretty well. But you can see how much we fly through the text. Also, lucky for us, we did not get Sand Attack, but the next fight against Anxiety will have a very similar risk. So we'll see how lucky we get going forward. This is Nugget Bridge, which we have to conquer in order to progress the story, but also we want to beef up our experience a little bit here as well anyway, because Misty can be very challenging. Jeez, we missed, what, 2 Mega Punches there? Oh boy. Misty can be very challenging against a Pokemon that is Poison Ground type, because if you're unfamiliar, Misty is a water type trainer. So all of her moves that are water based are super effective against us. So we need to beef up a little bit before we even think about taking her on. Which is fine by us because we have to do this anyway. It's not the bridge specifically that we need to do to progress the lore here. It's we have to go talk to our friend Bill up near the top so that he can give us the ticket to the SSAN going forward. Got some unlucky RNG with that Pidgey, so we Mega Punch it in order to potentially one-shot it. However, we got a low roll. It's actually very favorable to die, but we got a low roll, which didn't kill it, so that's unfortunate. I'm also getting ever so slightly nervous because it looks like there's a chance we might have to heal, which means that we're going to lose instant text, because how instant text is deactivated is if you go into any menu of any sort or you answer a question with, that has options from an NPC or something like that, or, you're if you learn a new move with a Pokemon, that will also ruin it. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, here we go. Here we didn't have this issue earlier, but we have it now. Luckily, we got the 2-turn wrap, which is great news. But yeah, that Ekans is a range as well with Mega Punch. Favorable, but we didn't hit the range. But luckily enough for us, 2-turn wrap, so the damage was minimal. So if we had to heal, going back to my original point, if we had to heal, we were going to lose instant text, which I obviously prefer not losing. So hopefully we don't. Also, unfortunately for us, we've used a lot of Mega Punches. Ideally, what we hope to do is have enough Mega Punches left to have at least 2 by the end of all of these trainers, and we actually hit a few more trainers above in another route as well. And that is because if we do that and we have enough potions, we can avoid having to heal at a Pokemon Center and can just use potions instead, which will save us a little bit of time. However, because we, not only because our health is low, but because we have used a little bit too many Mega Punches, we'll probably have to take the Pokemon Center anyway. All right. So the reason why we might have had to have healed was specifically because of this Mankey. If we'd gotten to 14 health or lower, we definitely would have had to have healed because Mankey loves to use Karate Chop. And Karate Chop is a move that has a very high crit chance. And if it crits, it's going to do at least 14 damage. So we would be dead. Luckily enough for us, we had 18 health, and even luckier for us, we didn't even get Karate Chop. So worked out in our favor. All right, so we're gonna Mega Punch this Ekans. I'm gonna take a tiny yet calculated risk, which is instead of Mega Punching the Zubat, we're going to Horn Attack it. Horn Attack is a range. Mega Punch is guaranteed if it hits. Unfortunate. But the good news is that we didn't get Supersonic or anything annoying, and this actually hit us into Red Bar. I don't know if we still have it because of the level up. We'll see here in a second. I'll be able to tell you on the next fight. But if we do have Red Bar, that's great news because we're going to fly through these fights if that's the case, because Red Bar in combination with Instant Text makes fights go vroom.
We have time for a quick donation?
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got $10 from Jake RG. No comment, but thank you so much for your generosity. Also, one of those donations that we had previously from one of your community members was donating towards your upcoming any % showcase for your later run, the Bug Snacks run. And that brings us to $17 out of 1,000 for that. So that's quite a bit that we need to catch up. But before then, we've got some other big donations as well. We are currently sitting at $192 out of 1,000 for the Sonic 06 Glitch exhibition. We're sitting at $19.50 out of 800 for the GoldenEye 007 XBLA, Aztec, and Egypt bonus levels. And we are sitting at $20 out of 100 for the Legend of Hero Tanma, which I believe is the next run. Oh, we've got a little bit of time before then, so it's in 3 runs. But that is the S-Craft animations. So basically just watching some extra animations. And like I said, that's at $20 out of 100. So if any of those donation incentives interest you, go ahead and check out the full list right there at ! Incentives. And feel free to donate at !donate. All of your donations go towards the Trevor Project.
Thank you so much. Yes. Big shout outs for all those upcoming incentives we got going on. This schedule is packed to the brim regardless, but to be able to extend it with some awesome things like Sonic 06 and all these other incredibly awesome incentives we have going on, continue to get those donations and it's going to be worth it for sure. Nothing really of note happened there. We just progressed through the trainers. You obviously got to see Water Gun in action because there's a lot of rock types there that can occur. I will say that as long as Pidgey dies, which is great, and then as long as this last Mega Punch hits on this Oddish, then we actually don't need to take the Pokemon Center because we have plenty of potions and we have 2 Mega Punches. So we're actually in good shape to avoid having to take that. We just learned a very, very important move, which is Thrash, which we'll be using quite a bit. I'll go into a little bit as to what Thrash does in a few minutes, but first we're going to pick up a very important item as well, the Ether, which helps us replenish power points for moves. And we're going to talk to our friend Bill, who has accidentally turned himself into a Pokemon, I guess. I think we've all been there. All right, so he's going to go on his thing. We're going to go on his computer. We're going to turn him back into a human. He's going to give us the ticket to the SSN, which is obviously very important for the story. And then we can progress back down to Cerulean. All right, so give us our ticket. And then we're actually going to take a very important menu here where we use a rare candy to level up. heal up, and then we actually picked up an escape rope as well in Mount Moon. So we'll be using that. Okay, so level up, heal up. And you know what? Since we have the potions, and for safety's sake, we'll heal to full. You don't, in a like a PB attempt, you probably wouldn't want to heal to full there, because you want to actually potentially get knocked into red bar. But I'm more about finishing the run than I am about getting knocked into red bar. So we're gonna take things extra safe. We're gonna talk to our good friend, the bike shop owner, again, so we can get instant text yet again. And then before we head into the gym, we have one other pit stop. Which is we're going to fight a Team Rocket trainer, which we'd have to fight regardless. An older version of this route would actually have us defeat Misty first and then fight the Rocket trainer after. We very specifically fight the Rocket trainer first now, so that we get enough experience that we'll hit level 25 right before we get to Misty's Starmie, and that will make it so that we outspeed her Starmie, which is very important. This Machop is a range, pretty unfavorable. I miss it most often, but I got it this time, so that's nice. And this Drowsy is also technically a range, but much more favorable, so we'll see. And you're also seeing the first instance of Thrash used. So in Gen 1, Thrash is a move that lasts between 3 and 4 turns. And it does, obviously, as you can see, massive damage. After the move is over, your Pokemon will be confused. So that's obviously the downside of it. However, almost every time that we use it, we're going to try to limit it to fights or uses that would take 3 turns so that we don't have to deal with confusion. Occasionally, depending on RNG here, we might have to depend on it lasting 4 turns, but hopefully it doesn't get to that point. We'll see. This Goldeen is usually, never mind, I don't even have to explain it. We crit it, so it's fine. I was gonna say, this Goldeen is usually fine. It usually takes 2 shots, and the only annoying move that can happen is if it uses Supersonic and confuses us and we keep hitting ourselves. Obviously very frustrating, but we didn't even have to deal with it. Here we are with Misty. We're gonna use Thrash. Staryu goes down in 1 shot, Staryu's a non-factor. We hit level 25 right before Starmie, like I mentioned, so that means we now outspeed Starmie, and that is very important. X-Defend is bad. Let's see what we get. Huh. Okay, good. All right. Sorry, I took a beat there to decide what was going to happen, but luckily the game decided for me in a positive way. So we want to outspeed the Starmie there, obviously, so that we can go first. On turn 2, a few things can happen. Well, honestly, on Starmie's turn 1, a few things can happen as well. So Starmie can use the move Water Gun, which is ideal, because even if it crits us, we'll be fine. It could use Bubble Beam, which is not ideal. At our health, it would be fine if we got crit from Bubble Beam, we would survive. However, Bubble Beam has a chance to drop our speed, and if it lowers our speed, we're obviously slower, so the next turn we would die, because Starmie would get to go first. And then the third option, which is the option that we saw, was X-Defend, which is kind of annoying because that means that the next Thrash on turn 2, Starmie will still survive, which means it has a chance to mess us up. And it also kind of means we need to depend on a 4-turn Thrash. Luckily enough for us, we got it, so it's fine. But if we did not get it, we would be confused. We would probably swap to avoid dying to another Pokemon, let Starmie kill that Pokemon, because then Confusion will leave, because Confusion is an in-battle status changer only. And then once we got swapped back in after Starmie killed one of our other Pokemon, then we would no longer be confused. So we would be able to take it out relatively easy. But again, luckily enough for us, we didn't have to deal with any of that. We're making our way down to Vermilion here. And we have to fight these 2 trainers because we can't circumvent them any otherwise. We did have to walk in a little bit of grass in order to get to these trainers efficiently. Luckily enough for us, we did not hit any encounters, but you can hit encounters there. But we got lucky. These trainers are not really of consequence. So you can leave Misty with really low health, again, depending on, what strategies you take and how much you healed prior to Misty and how much damage you took and all that. these fights can be a little scary because that first trainer has 3 Pidgeys, obviously, and all 3 of those Pidgeys know Quick Attack, so it can have a chance of doing damage. And then this Raticate also knows Quick Attack, so it can be a little bit scary. You could get knocked into some dangerous health or die potentially. But 1, our health is super high, so even if we got all Quick Attacks, we would be more than fine. And 2, you know, we played it safe anyway, so we're doing good. We're heading down to the SSA, and if you're keeping a track at home, we still have instant text, by the way, so we're flying through text boxes, as you can see, which is very, very good. Ideally, we'll keep it all the way through talking to the Cut Master, and then we'll have to do a shopping trip anyway before we fight Lieutenant Surge. So hopefully we can keep it, but again, this rival fight can be really frustrating. So we'll see what kind of luck we get. And spoiler alert, we're going to be taking on Anxiety for the 3rd time here. Anxiety in the flesh. But yeah, if things go well, we have enough health, so I'm not worried about health-wise. But if this Pidgeotto decides to be a troll, then we're gonna have issues. So we'll see what kind of luck we get. Don't do a Pidgeotto. Oh, doesn't matter because we crit it. Wow, we've got some really fortunate crits here. I will say that. Okay, good stuff. That's one of the 2 Mega Punches we needed to hit, and then now we're safe for this fight. There's nothing else that can really ruin us. The last Pokemon Anxiety has here is Ivysaur, which will take 2 hits unless we crit, and then it'll use either Leech Seed, or the Potion, which also doesn't matter. The Potion is very unlikely. I almost never see that. It still dies anyway, but typically it will either use Leech Seed or Vine Whip there. Leech Seed won't obviously matter because it won't live long enough for it to be a factor. And Vine Whip wouldn't matter even if it crit us. We have enough health to survive by a lot. All right, there we go. We fly through the captain's text there because we have instant text. And, you know, when you played this game casually, if you played this game casually, you might have been like, oh, well, we explored the SSA and up and down, went in every room, gathered all the items, followed the trainers, and we're not going to do that at all. We're just going to leave now. We did everything that we need to do to satisfy the story requirements of the game, and we are gone. So, peace out, SSN. And also shout outs to the only, you know, about 10-second input break we get in the run, which is right here as the ship flies away.
Well, we've got an input break. Do we have time for a quick donation?
Oh yeah, we're going shopping after this. We got time.
All right, fantastic. We've got $6 from our very own Hex. Let's hit 6K. 6 for Lord Helix. Can we get a $6 donation train when the timer hits 106? I'd like to also mention that we've got the Sonic 06 Glitch exhibition coming up, which we are just shy of $200 out of 1,000 to meet that glitch incentive, glitch exhibition incentive. So get those donations in. I think we can absolutely do a $6 train at 106. That's in 20 minutes. If everyone in chat does that, we will raise a whopping $3,000 in 20 minutes. I know we can do it.
Oh, absolutely. We're taking a much needed menu here. You might also notice we did a shopping, small shopping segment where we bought some repels and paralyzed heals. Despite what you might think, the paralyzed heals are not for this upcoming fight at all, because paralyzation is not something we have to worry about as a ground type. But they will be useful for later. We're now also going to be doing our last and final RNG manipulation of this run, which occurs right before the gym here. And it's a very easy and simple RNG manipulation to do, so I'm not like particularly worried about doing it execution-wise, but it is very important. Let me finish it and then I'll talk a little bit more about it. Great, we did it. We manipulate the RNG specifically for this trash cans puzzle. This trash cans puzzle can be a real chore if you're playing this casually or you're playing a category where manipulations are not allowed. And that is because it's completely random, and if you fail it, it completely resets. It could waste minutes of time, just absolute minutes of time. So we don't have to worry about it. I meant to use Bubble Beam there, but that's fine. They're kind of interchangeable here. Sonic Boom is what you hope for, because it does a flat 20 damage. Very good. And then yeah, this fight is actually inconsequential to us at the moment because we had so much health. You can go into this fight having to risk a 4-turn Thrash because you can't take that 20 damage from Sonic Boom. So it can be a little scary, but our health is again high enough, and we played it safe enough that it doesn't matter. And there you go. You saw Raichu try to Thunderbolt us, which again, not gonna work on a ground type. So you tried your best, but Surge is defeated. All right, badge number 3, down. Now, we did do a menu right before Surge, and we're going to do a menu pretty close after. And allow me to highlight another really important reason as to why Nidoking is such a good runner for this game, and that is because of the move set that we can teach it. We can teach it absolutely devastating moves across a wide spectrum of types. So you might have seen the last menu that I was able to teach Bubble Beam to it, which, why is Nidoking allowed to learn Bubble Beam? Seems weird, but you can. And a menu that's coming up after this in a few seconds or so is we're going to teach that TM we just got from Surge, Thunderbolt, also to Nidoking. So yeah, you can see it's pretty broken. Also, this game is a little broken in terms of you can just dig out of buildings sometimes like this. And you might have noticed that as well when we talked to Bill. We can use an escape rope out of buildings. It doesn't really make sense. You just can. I don't know. Finally, we talked to the bike shop owner again to actually get our bike this time. So we don't have instant text. We just got our bike, which is very important. We are going to go into our menu, swap our bicycle to the top, which is very important, and then teach Thunderbolt here. Very good. We're gonna bicycle, and then we're gonna cut this little tree here. So this is another oops, sorry about that. I accidentally hit the bumper buttons on my Game Boy player, so the screen probably looked real wonky for a second. My bad. Yeah, that highlights another reason why Paris is important, actually. So you might be wondering why we even needed Paris. So Paris is a Pokemon that can learn Cut and Dig, which is really good. We need both Cut and Dig for the run. If we did not get the Paris, say we failed the RNG manipulation multiple times, or I tried to weaken a Paris, but it broke out of both the Pokeballs I had, the Spearow would have made for a very excellent backup, because we can actually use the Spearow and in Vermilion trade the Spearow in one of the houses for a Farfetch'd named Dux. You might have done this in your casual playthrough. Dux is a Pokemon that can still learn Fly because it's a bird, but it can also learn Cut. Squirtle can learn Dig, so we would be rolling with 3 Pokemon instead of 4. But obviously that is slower, and the animation for trading Pokemon takes eternity. So luckily enough for us, we didn't have to do it, but it was a nice safe backup. If we had failed Paris and we gotten a Pidgey instead of a Squirtle, the backup would have then been in the grass in front of Vermilion. We would have farmed to get an Oddish and caught it. We would have had to buy another ball too. And then we would have caught the Oddish, because then the Oddish would know Cut. Then we would teach Dig to Squirtle. We have our Flyer still. We still have everything we need, basically. So a lot of alterations that we might have to do, but that's why the RNG manipulations are so important, so we don't have to depend on those alterations so much to the route if need be. Okay, so we Bubble Beam that first Caterpie specifically because of this Venonat. This Venonat can be very frustrating. It's a very favorable range to die to Thrash in one shot, but occasionally it doesn't, just like then. And then it used Disable, and that Disable could have acted on my Thrash. So then we would have had to do some changes, but luckily enough it disabled Thunderbolt, which is inconsequential at the moment. And then we're going to be heading into Rock Tunnel, which you might be thinking, well, in my casual playthrough, I had to use Flash to get by this because I don't know where I'm going. But you don't need Flash if you're confident enough that about where to move, that you can just move on through it. So you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so we're gonna take one intentional hit here. It's a little risky to do this, I'm gonna be honest with you. But it sets us up in red bar, which is gonna help us fly through this this cave a little faster. It does make a fight coming up more risky, so I will say that. But I figure let's go for a little bit of speed strats, and we'll save in front of that fight just to kind of showcase what it is. We want to get some red bar action, and if things go well, we can just fly through this tunnel. Yeah, we don't need flash. Flash is we'd have to go back to a building near Viridian Forest to get it. So we'd have to go through like Diglett Tunnel and stuff like that, or Diglett Cave. And we'd also have to, I believe, have caught 10 Pokemon, which we have not done, and nor will we do at all by the end of the run. So we don't have time. We literally don't have time for that. So we're not good. We don't need flash. We just got to memorize where it is that we're going. All right. So this is the trainer that is very risky, and the Pokemon that is risky, believe it or not, is Oddish. This Oddish is a big time troll. We're gonna use Thrash now. It's a range to kill. Let's see if we get it. We did not. Poison powder. All right, great, awesome. Now, the Oddish did not end up being an issue. This Bulbasaur is also a range, but more favorable. Cool, we hit it. Great, no problems. Easy as pie. Great. So what can happen there is if you miss that Oddish range, Oddish has a wide variety of moves it can do there. Namely, it could use a Stun Spore, which might not hit, but it might hit. It could also use Absorb, and it could also use Sleep Powder. All three of those moves could cause complications. Absorb actually would have been fine because we could have taken that damage and still be okay. But we actually got the best possible option, which is Poison Powder, because we cannot be poisoned as a poison type. So that worked out for us. Good stuff. This hiker is inconsequential, just has 3 rock types. We have Bubble Beam. Who cares? But it does give us a nice level up here. So you can also see here that we're taking time to pause to use repels in between. That is just, I know specifically where to repel so that I don't run out of tiles, because if you run out of repel tiles, you'll get a text box that says your repel has worn off, which we want to try to avoid as much as we can, obviously, because we don't want extra text boxes. Oops, I went up 1 extra tile. All right, and then one last trainer. Oop, I walked in front of it instead of talking to it, but that's fine. It just wastes a few extra frames of that, you know, that exclamation point. My goodness, popping up over their head and walking towards you. So just a little slower. That goes for any point in the run. Whenever we can, we will talk to a trainer as opposed to having the trainer see us. Because especially if it's from a distance, we'll have the frames wasted from the exclamation point popping, in addition to having the trainer walk at half speed towards us, which we just don't want. There'll be a couple of points where we can't avoid that. You know, we'll have to just get into the line of sight of a trainer, but for the most part, we will only hit trainers that we can, you know, talk to. Here's a good example of that, actually. So we have to fight one of these 2 trainers. We're going to choose the one that is faster, and then we're going to talk to the trainer as opposed to walking in front of it. This fight is not risky for us, but we can have it. There is a chance we can take damage. Just a little bit of damage, not enough to kill us, but enough to matter for a couple fights later on. But we did not have to deal with that, so it's good.
We have time for a quick message?
Oh, yes. Yes, we do.
All right, just want to say welcome everyone from the wonderful raid that we had just a few moments ago. Just to let you know, we are Power Up with Pride, raising money for the Trevor Project. Currently, we have a few donation incentives upcoming. I believe there's a $6 train that we're trying to hit for 106 on the timer. That's going to be donating for one of the upcoming donations, the Sonic 06 Glitch Exhibition. We're currently sitting at $198 out of 1,000. So we all know how glitchy and how broken Sonic 06 can get. If you want to see it pushed to its absolute limits, go ahead and donate.
Yes, thank you so much, and welcome readers. And yeah, go ahead and get those donations in. Such a wonderful cause. Trevor Project has done so much for so many people. Continue to get those donations in. This is. I was about to say anyway. Now's a great time for plugs and stuff like that because we are doing a very extended shopping section. But I'll talk a little bit about what it is that we're doing first. Oops, I meant to hit both there, but that's fine. We're going to be selling a lot of. We're selling a few things here. We bought a TM07. That's for Horn Drill. We'll get into a little bit about why that's important later. We're going to buy some super repels. This is a safety measure, but we're actually going to buy 2 revives here, and that is just for safety in the run. Here we're going to buy some super potions, which will be useful for the end game part of the run. And then we're going to walk up a couple floors. We're going to buy a Pokédoll, which is very important for an exploit, but I will again get into that in a little bit. And then we're going to head to the top floor where the vending machine is, and we're actually going to buy a drink and give it to a little girl who in return will give us a TM for Rock Slide, which is going to be very important, but only for a little bit. We're going to use it exactly 4 times and then get rid of it. So we're going to give this to her, and then on our way out we're going to get a fresh water, which will be important to open up a pathway later on for us. But if there are, if there's anything else we wanted to say really quick while we're finishing up our shopping segment, then now's a good time for that, Ruby.
You caught me mid-breakfast bite. All right, that's fine. So in addition to the money that we're raising through donations from the Trevor Project, Power Up with Pride has partnered with the Yeti to bring you shirts based on various runs throughout the event. These awesome designs will only be around for as long as the marathon is, so that's until tomorrow. So make sure you pick them up now. $5 from each shirt sale goes directly to the Trevor Project. Visit theyeti.com to check them all out. That's THEYETEE.com.
Thank you so much. Yes, one last thing that I will say about that shopping trip is we bought some X items, specifically X accuracies, X speeds, and X specials, and those are all going to come into play very soon actually for some of them, but some of them we won't even see until towards the end game here. We're also going to get the HM for Fly, and we're going to do a very important menu here. We're going to swap some items so that they're easier to access later on. We're going to swap that, use a super repel, and then teach this Rock Slide TM that I mentioned earlier. We're going to teach it over Mega Punch, say goodbye to Mega Punch, which is good, honestly, because Mega Punch is kind of an RNG nightmare. We're going to swap this down and get our X accuracies up higher, and then we're going to teach our Flyer Fly. Power Up with Pride. It literally gives us wing. Oh. I accidentally flew to the wrong place. Doesn't really waste anything. Just gotta fly again. There we go. The controller ate one of my, not the controller actually, I think this one was the game specifically, ate one of my inputs. We wanted to fly to Lavender here, not Vermilion, but just wastes the flying animation, not a huge deal. Now we are entering Lavender Tower. If you've played this game casually and kind of know exactly what you're supposed to do here, you might be a little confused because what you're meant to do, you're meant to go. I'm actually not going to say what you're meant to do because you don't have to do it this way, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But what the game probably more or less expects you to do is it expects you to go into the game corner in Celadon and go underground, fight all these Team Rocket people, meet Giovanni for the first time, and then after you defeat Giovanni for the first time, he gives you a Sylph Scope so that you can see the ghosts in Lavender Tower and progress through normally. However, there is an intended way that you can sequence break this. And the reason why I say definitively that is intended is because probably close to a year ago now, actually, the source code for Pokemon Yellow was leaked on the internet. And it's specifically mentioned using this strategy to avoid having to get the Sylph Scope and going into the game corner altogether. And the strategy revolves around using the Pokédoll that I bought while shopping. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Pokédoll is an item that when you use it will guarantee that you can run from a Pokemon, which is great because some Pokemon, if depending on their level or their toughness, might be a little bit too difficult to run from. But what we use it for specifically here is at the very end of the tower. So the strategy, what we do, we use a super repel so that we don't encounter any ghosts at all. Because if we see a ghost Pokemon, and because we don't have the Silph Scope, it'll just pop up as ghost. The game will force us out of the tower. So that's important. We use a repel so we don't have to deal with that. Then there is one unavoidable encounter that we need to do to progress the story, which if you play the game casually, you know what I'm talking about, which is the Marowak that's at the very end of this tower. You have to kind of appease by defeating, by catching, by doing whatever it is. You can straight up run from it. You have to encounter this Marowak so you can progress the story. Even if you have the repel, the Marowak will pop up, so it doesn't matter. So we need a way to be able to get out of this encounter, but we also can't fight or catch it because we don't have the Silph Scope. So what do? We buy the Pokédoll so that we are able to successfully run from it without being able to use the run command, because the run command just won't work. And then it will force us out. So that's how we get around that. And like I said, that is specifically mentioned in the source code leak as a way to avoid having to get the Silph Scope. So it is an intended mechanic, therefore not a glitch. That's been up for debate in the past. So people were like, oh, well, you know, is it a glitch because, you know, are you playing the game as intended? And people would say, well, no, it doesn't matter because you're not like breaking the game in any way. You're using the item as intended. You're just using it in a spot that it isn't intended. So it's not a glitch. It's more of an exploit. But now we have definitive proof that it is intended for you to do it this way. Geez, we almost got all the way through. I get so unlucky here. I'm just gonna rock slide and paralyze heal after, hopefully. Okay. So luckily enough, it happened for us after we touched the healing pad. So rock slide is a move that is not 100% accurate either. I believe rock slide is 90% accurate if I'm not. So yeah, that's that can encounter some problems. Usually, you know, it's not the end of the world because we can. You know, we only have to use it 4 times. We're actually deleting it right now in favor of Horn Drill. So, like, we only have to use Rock Slide 4 times. So, like, just hit 4 times and not be an issue is what you hope. However, I seem to get more unlucky than most when it comes to that. I don't know why. I just do. And then, luckily enough for us, though, it happened after. So, you know, we didn't have to worry. After we healed, I should say. So, you didn't have to worry about it so much. Okay, we're gonna do an item swap here to move our repels higher, and then we're gonna use that Pokédoll. We didn't get to see the Marowak because, again, we don't have the Silph Scope, so it just popped up as a ghost, but there you go. We avoid that. And then we have to fight these 3 rockets. This is one area that it's actually faster to just walk straight up as opposed to walking to each rocket and talking to them. One reason is that the exclamation points will still pop on their heads for some reason, I believe. I'm not entirely confident that I'm right in that, but I believe their exclamation points still pop up regardless. But 2, you waste more tiles walking to talk to them than it's worth, because they don't have to move a lot of tiles. They have to move a couple, some of them, but they don't have to move a lot. So as long as you hug one side so that 2 of the trainers don't have to walk at all and only one of the trainers has to walk like 2 steps, it's faster to just let them hit you as normal. Coming up on this next rocket, you're going to see an incredible why Gen 1 is broken in terms of speedrunning. An incredible display right here. So if you recall, I bought a bunch of X items in the shop, and we're going to be utilizing them right away by using an X accuracy first. I also just recently taught the move Horn Drill, which, if you're not familiar with the move Horn Drill, is a move that is a one-hit KO guaranteed. Regardless, but it's 50-50. It's a coin flip as to whether or not it'll hit. However, X accuracies in this game are busted, and that is because X accuracy is meant to be an item that just increases your accuracy by a certain amount. So, you know, if a move is like 90% accurate, maybe, you know, X accuracy increases it by some percentage and makes it so that, you know, maybe it's like 95% accurate. That's how it's used in later gens, at least. In this game, X accuracy doesn't just increase your accuracy, it makes your accuracy 100%. So it guarantees that a move will hit. So we will combine X accuracy with Horn Drill often to guarantee one-shot kills. So that we're gonna be exploiting that quite a bit, to say the least. We Thunderbolt this rat here because there's Eradicate coming up next. and then we're going to Thrash the Raticate. It's very favorable, but there is a small chance, an ever so slight chance, the Raticate survives the Thrash. And it did. Wow. We're getting all the interesting ranges. So now we had two Thrashes on that Raticate, and then the third Thrash will go on the last Pokemon. You can technically Thrash on the Rattata before, but you would have to hope to get a 4-turn Thrash or hope that you defeated the Raticate in one shot for that to be a thing. And it doesn't really waste much time to just Thunderbolt an extra time. So, but yeah, that gets us through Lavender Tower. We finally get to Mr. Fuji, who's going to give us the Pokeflute, obviously very important for progressing our story. He's going to warp us to his house first, of course. All right, Pokeflute. We actually didn't really lose any time there, which is pretty good. Okay, so all right, we're gonna fly. We're gonna fly back to Celadon. Now, our health is actually in a good spot. We don't need to worry about it at all. However, we are going to heal anyway, and the reason why is not at all related to our health. I don't actually care about our health. It'd actually be better to stay lower health than to be at full health. But we need to use this Pokemon Center so that whenever we use Dig, we warp back to it. Because Dig will take you back to the last Pokemon Center you used. And Celadon is a great city in the way it's kind of a centralized hub for several other cities. So, for example, we're going to head right into Saffron now because it's so close to Celadon. And then it's also kind of close to Fuchsia as well. So, you know, it's a nice home base kind of warp. So yeah, we're heading into Saffron, but it's not to fight Sabrina just yet. We're going to go ahead into Silphco and take care of Team Rocket in here. The Silphco is relatively safe. So there is a strategy that you can use in Silphco that can save you time, but is very risky. Like, it's incredibly risky. And that is what we call Silph Red Bar. So spoiler alert, we're going to be fighting Anxiety for is it the 4th time? I think it's the 4th time. For the 4th time. And you can set up getting Red Bar on Anxiety by taking damage on purpose. And that can save you up to, I believe it's like 30 seconds across the split. But again, it's very risky because you can die at several different points. I'm obviously not going to be taking because I would rather, again, live and then worry about getting Red Bar. It saves time, and I would consider it in a PB attempt, but since we're just trying to survive, I'm not worried about it right now. So we're not going to be doing that, and because of that, Silphco is relatively uneventful. We just fight that one trainer there, warp and warp back so that we can get the card key here. And then we're going to warp and warp back again so we get back to the same spot. Go through here. Hit this warp point. So if you ever want to get through Silphco fast, if you're playing this casually, this is exactly how you do it because we're skating right through it. We only have to fight 2 Team Rocket trainers before Giovanni, as in obviously our rival as well. We move very intentionally here up, and that is because when we're done with this rival fight, our rival will be able to head directly to the warp point. If we headed directly left, he'd have to walk around us, which is slower. So that's just a small optimization. And then, yeah, Anxiety strikes again.
We have time for a quick question from Professor Oak.
Oh, of course.
Professor Oak donates $6. Conception. I know you can defeat my grandson Anxiety. Come see me sometimes. I want to know how your donation incentives are coming.
The Anxiety thing just doesn't get old for me. I want you to defeat my grandson Anxiety. Oh, thank you so much for that donation. Just brings me such joy. And I'll be sure to come see you about those donation incentives because we have a number of excellent showcases and bid wars and everything coming up in this marathon. So be sure to get your donations. This fight is uneventful. So only in the way that, oops, I did the same thing again. Sorry for the aspect ratio. I accidentally, I keep fat thumbing the triggers on my my controller here, and when you're using the Game Boy player, it expands it to widescreen, and then I keep pressing the wrong button to clear it, so it opens up my Game Boy player menu. I'm sorry about that. But we set up on the Pidgeot because, and this is going to come into play several times. Our rival, along with several other key trainers, such as like gym leaders, the Elite Four towards the end, have what we call smart AI, and we say that in quotes. Smart AI basically means that, you know, any Pokemon will probably have 4 moves. I think I actually need to do this here. Yeah, I think that was the right call. Any Pokemon will have 4 moves, so theoretically, you would imagine any move chosen would be a 25% chance, you know, for them to use one move. But some trainers, such as those that I mentioned, have what we call smart AI, which means that instead of having an even 25% chance to use any particular move, they will use a move that is super effective against you, so in hopes to defeat you. Why it's not exactly smart is because that's not always the smartest thing to do. For example, we are poison type, poison ground specifically, which means that psychic is super effective against us. And however, so like that would be a problem if we were fighting a Pokemon that had like confusion, psychic, you know, things that damage us. We would die in one hit probably. We would just get annihilated. However, another psychic type move is agility. Agility is a psychic type move, and because that our rival has smart AI, oftentimes, and actually now that I'm thinking about it, it's not during this time, because this time the rival doesn't have smart AI, but it will in the future. The rival at times will just spam agility because it reads psychic is super effective against poison, so it's just going to spam agility, which is great for us because agility isn't going to matter if we use things like X speed or something like that. It doesn't come into play, so we will manipulate that for doing setups of X items and things like that. And you'll see that come into play a little bit later. For now, we're taking on Boss Rocket Giovanni, and he says, we meet again, except we haven't met him at all. This fight is relatively uneventful because we set up an X accuracy on his first Pokemon, the Nidorino, and then we horn drill everything except the Rhyhorn, because we don't have enough to horn drill all 4 of them. We only have 3 left. We used 2 on the Rocket prior, and then we just Bubble Beam that Rhyhorn and then take out Boss Rocket here. So that has actually Silphco cleared. Because after we defeat Giovanni, all of the rockets disappear regardless of whether or not you fought them. So they're all gone, but we're not done with the building itself because we got to pick up a few important items before we head out. So we're gonna take these warps back, and we're gonna head to floor 10. So we're gonna take the elevator. See if we can get a good scroll here. Nice. If you time it out well, you'll land directly on the cursor and save optimal amount of time. It's called kind of a YOLO scroll, unless you like really practice like your timing. And then we're gonna head down here, pick up 2 items. One is TM26, which is for Earthquake, and the second one is a rare candy. And then, we can just straight dig. Oh wait, no, I did do it. Okay, I thought I used cut instead of dig. But then we can just straight up dig out of here. All right, so that's Silphco cleared. Now we can head to the left-hand side here, and we're actually able to finally deal with the Snorlax in our way, but we're also going to take an extended menu here. So we're going to use a Repel, and we're going to swap up these 2 rare candies, and then use the Pokeflute. Snorlax, inconsequential to us. We just need him to get out of the way, so we're just going to run. The reason why we need to use a Repel is we're actually going to be picking up a hidden item in some grass on Cycling Road here. All right, bye Snorlax. So here we are, Cycling Road. And we're gonna head into the grass here. Very precisely land on that square so we get a hidden rare candy. And then just let the game cascade us all the way down. Because we're on Cycling Road, it actually bikes automatically for us, so I don't even have to hold down. So another unexpected input break here, not for very long, because eventually we do have to move left here, right there. And then once we hop this ledge, we no longer have automatic control, so. But a nice little input break there for us. So we passed through Cycling Road there, no trainers to worry about. We're gonna take another menu here. We're going to use another Super Repel. We're going to do another swap, get our X specials higher, and then we're going to teach TM26, which is, again, Earthquake, to our Nidoking.
While we're doing all that, do we have time for a quick donation?
Oh yeah, this is a great time because we're going to just be entering the Safari Zone, which is a lot of just biking and not worrying about Pokemon or trainers at all. So we got some time. Go for it.
Fantastic. We've got another $6 from Hex. Comment says 6 for Helix. And with that, do a quick check on our donation incentives. It looks like we are at $210 out of 1,000 for the Sonic 06 Glitch Exhibition. So we just broke the 20% mark. And if you want to see that wonderful Sonic 06 Glitch Exhibition, go ahead and get those donations in.
Of course, who doesn't want to see that? Absolutely. Like I mentioned, we're in the Safari Zone. We have to go in the Safari Zone because there are very important items we need to grab in here, but we don't need any Pokemon, so we just use repels to get by everything. One Martile. Great. And then we use another one there. We're going to be grabbing the Gold Teeth, and then there's the HM for Surf, which is obviously going to be very important for us, and we are going to grab that. But otherwise, yeah, inconsequential. This is actually low key one of my favorite parts of the run because it's just very chill. We get the bike music. We just head through the scenery that is the Safari Zone, and then we just grab the items. You know, it's kind of inconsequential. If you're panicking because things aren't going well, you can kind of take a second to think and figure out what you're gonna do. It's nice. But we're done with the Safari Zone now. We're actually gonna dig out here. Now remember, the dig brings us to Celadon, doesn't bring us back to Fuchsia, so we're going to buffer our menu here, fly back to Fuchsia, because now we're going to take on our 4th gym, finally. You might be wondering, when do we get into these gym leaders? Come on, Conception. We're going to head into Koga's gym now here. Which, you know, brings up the good point that we are doing the gym order a little... We're doing it out of order than you might have played it casually, I'll say. I don't want to say intended, because there isn't an intended way. After you get past the 3rd gym, you kind of get free reign as to what you want to do. As long as your Pokemon is high enough level, you can kind of conquer it in whatever order you want. But based off of like the listing of the badges and based off of how how Victory Road lists the badges in order, we're kind of doing things out of order. So we did, you know, Boulder, Cascade, Thunder. Now we're doing Koga's badge, which is normally 5th. We usually would do Erica's gym next, but for number 4, I should say. But we're going to be doing it out of order. You might also be wondering, you know, your Conception, your estimate's 2 hours and 5 minutes. We're currently an hour and 21 minutes into the run, and you have 3 badges. Like, are you worried? Like, are you way behind? Are you gonna throw off the marathon because you don't know how to set an estimate? And the answer is no, and you'll see why soon. But I don't want to spoil it really. Don't worry, don't panic. I know exactly kind of what I'm doing. This trainer, this juggler, can be scary. It's not scary in a marathon setting because 1, my health is pretty high, but 2, I have revives. So if things went really, really poorly and I was killed, I could revive myself. I'm not terribly worried about it. I am gonna elect to take 1 hit here. Maybe. Yep. Oh wait, no. You know what? Forget it. I think we'll be fine. You know, so typically at this point, so we're going to fight Koga, and we're going to use a very interesting strategy. Typically, everyone who I've ever seen run this game will do this fake out strategy where they're like, oh no, we died, what's going to happen? But I'm not going to do that to you. The Power Up with Pride crew, too smart. I'm not going to try and fool you. We're going to be taking an intentional death on Koga here. And I'll explain a little bit why that is. So the first 3 Pokemon, we're just going to straight Earthquake, and they're going to be 1 shot, and we're going to die on Koga's Wheezing. So the reason why I was a little like, should I take a hit here or not, is because we're gonna hit level 40 right before the Wheezing, which will put us our health at either 79 or 80. I don't exactly remember off the top of my head what it'll be. I want to say it's 79. And what we're going to be looking for Weezing is a self-destruct, which does at minimum 79 damage, and we want to die. So we do have 79 damage here, so I am excited to see that. So we will guarantee die. But I was worried that we might get 4 health at the level up instead of 3, so we wouldn't die and we might live with 1 HP. But nope, don't have to worry about it. So why do we take this intentional death? Why is it important? Great question, chat, or me, I guess. So Nidoking is dead. We should be worried, right? Not necessarily. So we're gonna exit the gym here. And then we're gonna take a menu and we're going to use the 3 rare candies that we have in our inventory right now. And rare candies not only level you up, but it gives you the health that you would gain from your level up. So it acts as a revive in a way because it also increases your health. So we level up 3 times to level 43, but we also gain 10 HP, which brings Nidoking back from the brink of death. And not only does it bring Nidoking back from the brink of death, it gives us red bar because our health is so low. So you might understand now why this would be valuable to us. We're gonna get this HM for strength. Come in here, we're gonna go. And we're gonna fly home. We're gonna go to Pallet Town. We're gonna wave to mom from the window. And that's it, because we're gonna head straight down here. Gonna go into our inventory, use a repel, scroll all the way down to our HM for Surf, teach it to our Squirtle, and then we're gonna surf straight down, and we're gonna head to Cinnabar Island. Now, I always like to bring this up whenever I do runs of this. If you were like me as a kid and played this game, you would think this ocean is expansive. It's huge. There are trainers everywhere. There are Pokemon everywhere you can catch. The world is your oyster. You could go wherever you want, right? However, if you want to go to Cinnabar Island from Pallet Town, head straight down and to the left 1 tile, and you get there. And I just think that's funny because like it makes it feel like so expansive, but you really don't have to worry about it at all. You could just head almost directly straight down, and you'll get there. I think that's funny. We head into the Pokemon Mansion here. We need to get a key so that we can get into the Cinnabar Island gym when the time comes. Movement here is very precise, actually, because if we move correctly with no wasted steps, we will go exactly to the limit of our repel and save the text box so that we don't have to see your repel has worn out before we use another one. And I believe I have moved correctly. Yep, sure did. And then we're actually going to teach some more moves here. So we're going to teach strength to our Squirtle. Little turtle is getting some gains. And then we just picked up a TM, and this TM is for Blizzard. We're going to teach that to our Nidoking. Again, busted moveset, another reason why we roll with Nidoking. And then we have one last small repel, regular size repel, that we're going to use here. And then we are going to now go get the secret key that we need. We are now also at our final move set for the Nidoking. So the final moves, if you're keeping up at home, we have the Horn Drill, which is again that one-hit KO move. We have Earthquake, which is obviously a very powerful ground type move. We have Thunderbolt, an electric type move. Why can Nidoking learn that? Don't ask me. And then Blizzard, a very powerful ice type move. Why can Nidoking learn that? Again, don't ask me. I don't know. All right, we got our secret key. We also picked up another rare key. And we can dig out of here, which is great. Now, here's where things get interesting. Again, I kind of teased it up top. You know, we're significantly into the run, and I have 4 badges now. We still got 4 more badges and the Elite Four, and you're telling me I'm going to finish on underestimate? I hope I'm going to finish underestimate. I'm going to finish by estimate, guaranteed. But certainly, yes, we are going to finish underestimate because we are now going to be doing a boss rush of sorts, starting with Erica here. Now, Erica is usually inconsequential. However, one thing we have to depend on here is we have to fight one trainer before Erica, which only has 1 Pokemon, which is an Execute. We defeat this Execute using Blizzard, which we just taught. In Gen 1, Blizzard is a 95% accurate move. So usually not a problem. Great, it hit. If we miss this blizzard, we can get trapped in like a big cycle where the execute keeps putting us to sleep or using reflect to dodge our blizzards and stuff like that. It just can become a nightmare. In addition to that, so that trainer can really mess with us. And in addition to that, we have to land a blizzard on Erica herself as well. So that can be a problem. Hopefully it's not, but it could be. So we Earthquake, a Victory Bell, and then there's a Vile Plume at the end that we also Earthquake, but there's a Tangela in between that we need a Blizzard. Good, it hit. Nice. All right, so this Erica is, just normal and consequential. Very good. All right, so that's our 5th gym badge. Easy as that. Thanks, Erica, for cooperating. Great. So now we are going to menu here, cut, and we're going to head out, and then we're going to fly to Cinnabar, and we're going to take on that gym now. Oops. Now we have the secret key, and we have done everything. So you can kind of gather with the routing, what we tend to do is we do all of the story beats we have to up front, and then we boss rush the gyms at the end. That's just, it tends to be faster, just how we have everything set up. So here we are in Blaine's gym. Blaine's gym and Blaine himself, almost, they're nothing. There's nothing that can go wrong here, except that you have to participate in these quiz questions. Now, you want to answer these questions correct, because if you don't, then you have to fight a trainer, which isn't necessarily terrible, except it's slow. We could take out all these trainers with relative ease, but like when we don't need the experience and we don't have to fight them, just make sure you answer the questions right. I will also say that it looks like from your perspective that I am hitting yes for the answer for every question, but that is not the case. If you want to answer no for a quiz question here, you can just press B as opposed to scrolling down and hitting A, which is obviously faster, saves you an input. So if you're interested in the answers, they're yes, no, 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 yes, no, or A, B, 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 A, B, which is how I remember it. So this one is yes. And then one last one is no. I will say that first question, the first quiz question asks, does Caterpie evolve into Butterfree? And I think that's controversial. I think it's a controversial question. Because as a kid, as any kid, and I would imagine, you would answer no to that, right? You would say Caterpie does not evolve into Butterfree because Caterpie evolves into Metapod, who evolves into Butterfree. So I would answer no, and then I'd get that question wrong, because technically the answer is yes, apparently. Even though there's a step in between, but hey, what do I know? Okay, so Blaine is a trainer that has smart AI, so that Growlithe is going to spam agility, which is fine. There is one other thing that Blaine can do, which is use a super potion. The super potion is actually ideal. It would be faster because if he just spams agility, which is pretty normal, so it's not like I'm upset to see that. Then it means that Growlithe gets an extra turn, which wastes about 4 seconds. But if he uses a super potion, that means that we would outspeed the Arcanine without the second agility, which means we would go first, which would mean the Growlithe doesn't get that extra turn. But like I said, it's pretty normal to not get it, in my opinion. All right, so that's badge number 6. We can just straight up dig out of Blaine's gym here. All right, and we're going to immediately head to badge number 7, which is Saffron. And weirdly enough, with how it's timed out, it's actually faster to just bike to Saffron's gym from Celadon than it is to fly to Saffron and then bike from there. And that is just because the Pokemon Center for Saffron City is all the way at the bottom of Saffron, so you have to bike all the way up. So it's actually faster to just bike across and not worry about the fly animation, weirdly enough. This is the exact pattern you want to use on these teleporters to get to Sabrina as fast as possible, just in case you're ever wondering. And Sabrina is an interesting fight. It's actually inconsequential to us, but only because this route is so optimized. So we're gonna fight Sabrina here. Her second, so she has a Kadabra first. Her second Pokemon is Mr. Mime. After Mr. Mime, we're gonna level up to 45. And once we level up to 45, it gives us exactly 1 point more of speed than her last Pokemon, which is her Alakazam, which means that we will outspeed her Alakazam, which is very important because Alakazam would absolutely destroy us otherwise. So that's just a testament to how tight the routing is, rather, because you know, if we had done this any other way, you know, if we had done Sabrina before Blaine, for example, we would not be high enough level to outspeed this Alakazam. You know, it's a very careful crafting of the route, which I appreciate. But otherwise, Sabrina is done for, and we move on. So that's 7 gym badges already. We only need 1 more. All right, so we take this warp tile and then we buffer our menu here, which skips a good chunk of animation for digging, and then we fly to Viridian City because now we can take on the Viridian Gym in Giovanni. So we're gonna head in there now. And if you're keeping up at home, remember we took an intentional death on Koga. Oops, geez, thanks controller. We took an intentional death on Koga, and that put us in red bar, and we're still in red bar, and we're gonna still hopefully keep red bar. So you know, we're doing all the, we just did 3 gyms at incredibly low health with no danger to us because we are just so confident in the routing that we know exactly what we're doing. Okay, so this cool trainer, inconsequential, has a Rhyhorn. We take down 1 shot. The next trainer is scary and can kill us very easily. So is it Giovanni? No, of course it's not Giovanni. It's a random black belt. So we're gonna save. The reason being, you might like, we have revives. So like if I die, I'm okay. It's not like in terms of the run ending or something like that, that's not it. But if this black belt kills us, we'd have to revive, which puts us at half health, which puts us out of red bar, which we want to keep for a while longer. So it's actually faster to reset and try this fight again if we die. Cool, we got favorable RNG anyway. The one move you do not want to see here from the Machoke is Karate Chop. If you recall all the way back to the Mankey that I was talking about on Nugget Bridge, Karate Chop has a high crit chance. So if we see Karate Chop, probably will crit, and if it crits, we will definitely die. So we don't want to see that. But the Machoke could do like 4 other things. So, you know, it's pretty, I would say it's probably favorable that this black belt won't kill us, but you never know. All right, so we fight those 2 trainers, and we're actually going to walk out of the gym and back in, and that's going to reset the trainers' locations, which gives us a free shot right directly to Giovanni. But before we do that, we're going to use an elixir there. And that just replenishes the entirety of our power points for all of our moves. I kind of glossed over that when each time we picked up an elixir, but we picked up several elixirs along the way. We picked up the ether outside of Bill's house. We picked up an elixir in the underground on our way to Celadon. We picked up 2 in Lavender Tower and then 1 in Silphco, and we're just going to be using those throughout the run. Giovanni is a non-fact. We earthquake everything until his Rhydon at the end, which Blizzard, and then the Blizzard is actually a range for the Rhydon. I usually don't hit it actually, so I'm pretty much banking on not hitting it. But because Giovanni has smart AI, usually the Rhydon will spam the move Fissure, which is a ground type move, but it will not affect us because we're ground type, so we don't have to worry about it. So then we'll just hit him with the second Blizzard and then not have to worry about it. Or, you know, we can just one-shot the Rhydon and it won't matter, right? Hey, we got it. Hey, I almost never hit that range. Good stuff. All right, so that's 8 gym badges, gang. Time to go take on the Pokemon League, right? All right, maybe, who knows? We'll see, we'll try our best. All right, so we're gonna head out of the gym here. All right, we're gonna menu here. Obviously we need to use our bike, but we're also gonna use the rappel because we're gonna be driving through a little bit of grass. Oh no. Anxiety strikes again for the 6th time, I think. I think anxiety is really coming for us here. Okay, so this fight is almost inconsequential, and I say almost because it can be. First of all, he has a smart AI, so this Pidgeot is gonna spam agility just nonstop. I am electing to use an extra X accuracy here. I do not have to, but I want to guarantee that a Blizzard in the future will hit. Because it's 95% accurate, and I know Pidgeot's going to spam agility, so I know I can set up on it. I don't have to do that, but it makes it a little bit safer to do so. Earthquake this Rhyhorn, bye-bye. Thunderbolt this Gyarados coming up, bye-bye. You know, these are not the scary Pokemon. We're going to use another X special here because Growlithe, again, smart AI, and Growlithe has agility. So we're going to bolster our special even more. You could just do an extra X special on Pidgeot. It doesn't particularly matter, but, you know, for flavor, we'll do it on Growlithe. Earthquake the Alakazam, and then the last Pokemon is the Venusaur. And the Venusaur is a little scary here because we're going to use Blizzard, and the Blizzard is a favorable, but it is a rain. Luckily, we hit it. So what can happen there is we can miss the range, and then that gives Venusaur a turn. It could not matter; we could still survive, but it will almost always use Razor Leaf because again, smart AI wants to hurt us. Razor Leaf is another move that in Gen 1 has a very high crit chance. So if we get crit by that Razor Leaf, we'll die. Again, not terrible because we have the revives, so I wasn't like overly worried about it, but could have been a fact. Could have been a fact. But you know, all that doesn't matter because we one-shot the Venusaur and it was good. So we're now in like the badge check part of heading to the Pokemon League. Let's see here. We got to surf with Squirtle here. The thing that I always love to do there is use strength instead of surf by accident, but I avoided it this time. This part always kind of annoys me because it's like, why do I have to have 8 NPCs tell me the same thing and check an individual badge? Can't we have one person check all the badges? Like, why are we doing this? But it's all good. It's all for fun. All right, we're gonna use a Super Repel here, not only for this little bit of grass, but for the beginning parts of Victory Road that we're going to enter here. Last badge check. Yes, game, we got all of our badges, I promise. Okay, so Victory Road. If done successfully and accurately, we do not have to fight a single trainer in Victory Road. Now, if I am sloppy with my movement, I'll hit an extra trainer, which I don't want to do. So we're going to be a little bit extra cautious with our movement. Otherwise, it's just solving boulder puzzles to get to the end destination. One thing I will note is that so after this first boulder puzzle is fine, and we don't really run into risk of running out of like repel tiles or anything. The second, we're gonna take another repel after the oh my god, the controller, please. Like I said, if you're sloppy with your movement, you'll hit an extra trainer. And that's exactly what I did. This is such a long one too. God. Why this one? Ah, jeez. Well, who doesn't want to see some extra pokes, right? I did this for content, is what I'll say. We'll take out some Pokemon here. So, I'm beating myself up over this one, I will say. Road was going pretty well, like execution-wise. I didn't make any significant mistakes, I don't think, beyond probably messing up. Oh, wonderful! We get to explain another component here. What is happening? Am I mistaken on something here? Hold on. I'm just gonna make sure I get through this first. I might die here, so hold on. Okay, no, we're okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, okay. I know what happened. I'm a dum-dum is what happened. I was like, why is Earthquake missing? But it's because Charizard's a flying type and I'm a dummy. Okay. Yeah, beat myself up over that one a little bit, but it's all good. We survived, which is what matters. Yeah, anyway, so this we just use another repel here. If I am incredibly precise with my tiles, as in I don't waste any extra tiles of movement here, then I can save a menu. Now, will I do that? Probably not, because movement is probably where I struggled the most in this run, as you can tell. But we will try our best. So far, we haven't wasted tiles, but let's... But yeah, I had the tiniest little bit of panic because I was like, Earthquake's not hitting. Earthquake's not hitting. What do I do? I don't know what to do here. But I figured, and luckily you used Rage, which is a low damage move until you build it up. So that worked out for us. All right, so we're going, oop, there we go. We wasted some tiles, so we'll probably have to take an extra menu here. We'll see. All right, so finishing up this boulder puzzle here. Oh yeah, we're definitely taking an extra menu. Whew. That movement, that schmovement, did not go to plan. But yeah, I'm taking that corner extra cautiously because I really don't want to hit that trainer. These ones are easy to avoid. Oh my gosh, that might be the worst I've ever done on this. So far away from where we need to be. Ideally, we get all the way here, push this boulder in, and then fall down the hole without running out of repel tiles, but it did not work out in that way at all. We're gonna bicycle around. All right, and then we're gonna do the last boulder puzzle, which is just moving it straight across. Now for the content, I'm going to attempt to do a visual glitch that actually waste frame technically. I'm gonna try to do it. I'm very bad at it. Oop. Nope. All right, let's just get out of here. I've already embarrassed myself enough. Let's get out of here. So that it's called swag bouldering. Basically, you turn up on the same tile that you're moving to the right to push the boulder, so that your body still moves to the, well, actually it's to the left, but you're facing upwards, and the smoke from the boulder is moving upwards. It actually wastes 2 frames to do it successfully. So. And like I said, I embarrassed myself enough, so let's just get out of there. But here we are, Elite Four. We get to use a very interesting strategy with Lorelei here. And that is, we're going to be doing a very specific swap. All of these Elite Four members have smart AI, but we need to make sure that we have enough time to do setup so that we can do horn drills. The Dugong will almost always use Aurora Beam first. So we do a very specific swap there. Oops, there we go. We do a very specific swap there so that it takes out our bird Pokemon as opposed to us. However, if it uses Aurora Beam first, it will always use Rest second. So we utilize that and manipulate that AI so that we then have a free turn to set up our X accuracy, so that then we can just horn drill the rest of Lorelei's Pokemon to defeat. And we outspeed all of them, so it's not an issue. And then that'll be Lorelei. I'm gonna be extra safe here. And I'm gonna. Oh, it doesn't feel good, but I'm gonna heal before Bruno. Usually I don't have to, but because I took some extra damage there. Gosh, do I? Yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. I lied. It's a toss-up. So there is only roughly a 2% chance that I can die in this Onix. The first Pokemon that Bruno uses. It's if it uses the move Slam, which is 1 in 5 to do, and then Slam is not an accurate move, and so it would have to hit. And then in addition to that, it would have to crit for me to die. Oh wow, I did use Slam, so that was a little nerve-wracking, but it missed, so we're okay. The reason why I chose to risk it anyway is because I have the revives. So if I had died, whatever, I'll just use the revive instead. So I just chose not to worry about it, so we could keep red bar instead. And it worked out in our favor. Calculated risk. And then other than that, Bruno is easy peasy. So we just horn drill and then we blizzard the onyxes because it's a little faster than using horn drill and not very effective. All that, it would still kill. It just would be a little slow. All right. So that's Bruno, and then Agatha is a little bit interesting. So we're going to mini before Agatha. We're going to use a super potion to heal up a bit. And then we're going to use this rare candy that we have all the way down. And then we're going to take on Agatha. The reason why we do those two things, one, the health is more of a safety measure than anything. Kind of guarantees that we can survive at least a turn or two. If you know, things go awry. But the reason why we do the level up is so that we make sure that we outspeed her last Gengar, because then we can just, you know, kind of skate through if things go normal. We do have to do a little bit of setup here, so this is a little bit RNG dependent. Okay, we actually got really good RNG there. As long as this blizzard hits. Good, then this is literally as fast as Agatha could go, in my opinion. You often see the withdraw there. That's pretty uncommon, IMO. But we got the withdraw there. The Gengar can just mess with us a lot. It can hypnosis us, put us to sleep. Can use Dream Eater. You know, it has options to mess with us. But the withdraw is pretty quick, pretty speedy. And the reason why the Blizzard was important to hit on the Golbat, obviously beyond the fact that killing it fast is, you know, fast, is that the Golbat has a move called Haze. Haze is a move that if it's able to get off, it removes all status change effects, which would have counteracted the X special that I used, which would have been obviously a problem. But otherwise, this Agatha fight was really good. Very, very good. All right, so 2 more fights await us. Just 2 more. Lance, which is Lance can be pretty scary, and then Anxiety, which is anxiety inducing. So we're gonna do some setup on Lance before Lance here. First, we're going to use this elixir. Second, we're going to use a super potion. Is that enough health, actually? Just enough. And third, we're gonna save. Technically, I don't have to save. In a PB attempt, I might actually not save. And that is because I have the revives. So it's kind of it would be a calculated favorable risk to take, but because we've made decent time and you know, why tempt fate, I'm gonna save here. Okay, so Gyarados, we're gonna use next special. Gyarados is gonna use Hydro Pump. If it crits, we're dead from full, so that's why it doesn't matter if we heal the if it hits and doesn't crit, as long as we have at least 129 HP, we'll survive. Which is we had 130, so we did it. And we survived with 5 HP, so a little nerve-wracking, won't lie to you, to have that health. But the rest of the fight is actually inconsequential for the most part. We want to make sure these blizzards hit. I actually was kind of tempted to take an X accuracy here to make sure that I don't die. I guess I could have, but we're gonna just hope the blizzards hit, I think. Thunderbolt hit this Aerodactyl and take it out pretty fast. And then the last Pokemon is the Dragonite, which will die to the X special. Blizzard. Good. Okay, it hit, so it didn't really matter. So yeah, that's Lance. That Lance went pretty much according to plan, but again, can vary depending on what you get from that Hydro Pump. All right, so what we're gonna do here, his name is Anxiety. We're gonna actually use one of our small potions, just one. And then I'll save to be absolutely so incredibly insanely safe, but it doesn't really matter because we have the revive, so it would probably be fine, but you never know what can happen. This is Pokemon after all. One last fight against Anxiety. All right, can we do it? Yes, we can. Somebody famous once said that, I think. All right, so this fight can vary a lot as well, depending on what the Pidgeot wants to do. So we always are going to start off with X special. Now let's see. Mirror move is fine. Then we're going to use our X accuracy here. Great. Okay, so it cooperated fully. Wonderful. So there's a lot of moves that Pidgeot can use. They're all relatively interesting. So the other moves that it can use that we didn't see are Wing Attack, which obviously just damages us. If it had crit us, we would die, but it doesn't have like a particularly high crit chance or anything. And then the other move is Sky Attack, which is a 2-turn attack. It charges up on turn 1 and attacks on turn 2. If we had gotten Sky Attack turn 1, we actually would change strategies here a little bit, and we would have killed it right away so that the Sky Attack doesn't land, because we would die from the Sky Attack. We would have blizzarded it to get out of the way, and then we would have altered our strategy. However, we didn't see any of that. We stayed in red bar. You might have noticed as well, for some reason, battle animations come on during the last fight here, no matter what you have set. So, we can't control that, and they just come back on. But that's it. We hit an optional trainer, but otherwise, pretty clean run. Take that, anxiety. We're not at time yet. Don't worry. I'll let you know. We still have to get through our Hall of Fame here, and then I'll be sure to count you down. But there's nothing left in the fight that can ruin us. Pokemon Red actually cooperated, so that's good. It is important. We're going to come in a little less than 10 minutes under estimate, but we have to set the estimate high here because there's a lot of RNG variants that can occur in a Pokemon run. So hopefully that doesn't throw off the schedule too much, but we're happy that the run went well at the very least. So we're going to go through our Hall of Fame here. In a PB attempt, we would actually deposit every Pokemon besides Nidoking, obviously, and we'd actually keep the Flyer too to do that manipulation with Lorelei. But we would deposit the other 2. The reason why I kept them, though, is because if I had to use them as buffers for my revive, then I would have. So in a PB attempt, this Hall of Fame sequence would be shorter because we'd have 2 less Pokemon that would be showcased here. We wouldn't be showcasing Squirtle or Spearow. Power up with pride. Let's go. Then last but not least, our Paris. Actually, no, we would keep the Spearow and deposit the Paris. I had it backwards, but yeah, otherwise this run was pretty good. Time is coming up as soon as the fade out starts here, so I'll let you know. And time. All right, 1:56 in a marathon setting I think is pretty respectable, so I'm pretty happy with that time. Just want to say thank you so much to the Power Up with Pride crew for everything that they've done to make this event such a massive success so far. I really appreciate being asked to be a part of it. Trevor Project is such an important cause, and so many people in my life are LGBTQIA+, and I just I'm so blessed to be able to do anything that I can to be able to help important causes. Trans rights are human rights, and everyone deserves to be who they are. If you're interested in speedrunning this game, there are tons of resources for it. Come on by speedrun.com/PKMN Red Blue, I think is what it is, or you can just search Pokemon Red Blue on speedrun.com. There are guides, there are videos. This game is run to death, so you will be able to find the resources you need to do that. If you like Pokemon speedruns or speedruns of all kinds of eclectic varieties, come on by twitch.tv/konceptionSR. We are a wonderful little community, so friendly. We'd love to have you come on by. And one last plug as well for Bug Snacks, which is coming up later today. I'll be running no major skips, but if you want to see how busted any percent can be, continue to get your donations in towards that, as well as our other amazing incentives that we have going on for the marathon. But other than that, I think I've kept you all long enough. I appreciate you watching this run of Pokemon Red, and stay tuned for the rest of the marathon.